Okay, so thank you for having some interest in a place to talk. I told you I'd be back tomorrow, and I failed. I got busy. All right. Okay, so this is the passage we're gonna be reading about and talking about this Sunday at a place to talk. But I just kind of want to take a second and say we'll probably end up talking a lot about Charlie Kirk this Sunday at a place to talk. I'm not really prepared for this video because I don't really know what to say. I want to read this passage because this will be our passage for Sunday, and we might not be able to stay on topic because this Charlie Kirk thing happened. Now, I think it's important to remember that the same day as Charlie Kirk, we had a school shooting where two people were wounded and the shooter took his own life. The following day was September 11th. The video didn't pause. I don't know what to say. There's something we've got to understand something about how violence begets violence. We've got to get this in our mind. Let's read this passage. I want to tell you that up front that I find myself reading this passage and thinking something's not right here. This doesn't feel like, taste like, smell like. It doesn't remind me of Jesus. Something is not right here. Remember John, this author, whoever it is, John, he writes his gospel in a different order from Matthew, Mark, and Luke. He doesn't try to stay in order. He's taking, I think it's 8 signs, and he's putting them in an order trying to make a point. And while I respect the point and I appreciate the point, I wonder if there's some creative licensing he took as he wrote this story, as he put it together. Let's look at this story. Sometime later, Jesus went up to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish festivals. Now there is in Jerusalem near the ship gate a pool, which in Aramaic is called Bethesda, and which is surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. Here a great number of disabled people used to lie, the blind, the lame, the paralyzed. One who was there had been an invalid for 38 years. By the way, it's not they used to lie there. They were currently lying there, according to the Greek. The original language, most scholars would say they were currently lying there. This translation seems to want to say they used to be lying there. I think it's because they don't want to say that Jesus stepped over other people who wanted to be healed to heal this one guy who couldn't get into the water. When Jesus saw him lying there, he learned that he had been in this condition for a long time. He asked him, "Do you want to get well?" It seems like an insane question. Why would you say, "Do you want to get well?" I'm here. Of course I want to get well. "Sir," the invalid replied, "I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is stirred. While I'm trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me." Then Jesus said to him, "Get up, pick up your mat and walk." At once the man was cured. He picked up his mat and walked. The day on which this took place was the Sabbath. So the Jewish leaders said to the man who had been healed, "It is the Sabbath. Law forbids you to carry your mat." But he replied, "The man who made me well said to pick up my mat and walk." And so I did what he told me. He healed me. He changed my life. So they asked him, "Who is this fellow that told you to pick it up and walk?" The man who was healed had no idea who it was, for Jesus had slipped away into the crowd that was there. Later, Jesus found him at the temple and said to him, See, you are well again. Stop sinning or something worse may happen to you." I have so many questions about Jesus saying this. Stop sinning or something worse may happen to you. Was Jesus saying stop walking on the Sabbath? Stop carrying a mat on the Sabbath, you dummy. That's just sin. Something's worse going to happen to you. When Jesus had been the one that told him to pick up his mat and walk? Can't be that. That doesn't add up. Was Jesus threatening him that something else was going to happen worse? Can't be that. That doesn't sound like Jesus. Either there's something we don't understand or John is taking creative licensing here and it just doesn't make sense. What do you think that is? We're going to get off topic this Sunday at a place to talk. I just know we will. We're going to end up talking about violence. There's all kinds of posts going around on social media about pray for Charlie Kirk's family, and we should. What happened with Charlie Kirk was a tragedy. It should not have happened. School shootings should not be happening either. If we're going to fly the flag at half mast, it should be flown at half mast because of school shootings, because of our problem with violence, because of our inability to do what's right. We're focused on, I mean, there's half of Christianity spends more time worshiping guns than they do worshiping Jesus. There's a problem here. There's a problem here. Charlie Kirk should not have been killed. It should not have happened. There's no but. Social media is also full of posts about the things Charlie Kirk said about how the Second Amendment is worth some deaths. I've seen it less, but Charlie Kirk also called for a patriot to bail out the guy who took a hammer to, was it Pelosi's husband? I'm not sure the story, but stop sinning or something worse may happen to you, America. Stop this insane, stupid addiction to guns. You say, I want my gun to hunt. Fine. But would you give up a freaking deer to be able to let your kids go to school and not be in danger of gun violence? I'm not saying get rid of the Second Amendment. In fact, we might be moving towards a time when the purpose of the Second Amendment actually comes to be. A tyrannical government could be coming. I mean, we might be getting that kind of thing. But violence won't work. Violence is not the answer. Those who live by the sword die by the sword. That's not the way we solve these problems. Stop sinning, America, or something worse might happen to you. That's totally out of context. It's not about this. And I don't even think, this doesn't even add up to me. This story doesn't make sense to me. I can't imagine Jesus stepping over people that need healing to heal somebody else. It just doesn't add up. But I could hear Jesus saying to us, stop worshiping guns, America, or something worse is going to happen. Stop putting a gun on your hip to go to the grocery store, you frickin' moron. You're going to end up in a situation where that gun harms a child or a family member. Stop sinning, America, or something worse may happen to you. Let's talk this Sunday at A Place to Talk.